This video is divided in 4 sections. First, you'll learn some key vocabulary, the most useful words and expressions on today's topic. Then you'll hear a short, real-life story that shows you how those words are used naturally in context. After that, it's quiz time. A few fun multiple-choice questions to test your understanding. And finally, you'll do some shadowing practice. Repeat a natural-sounding dialogue to boost your pronunciation and fluency. Ready? Let's get into it. Let's explore some essential vocabulary to talk about job interview. First up is to hire, which means to give someone a job. For example, you can say the company decided to hire 2 new employees this month. Next, we have to apply for, meaning to try to get a job by sending your CV or filling out a form. For example, we can say he applied for a position at a hotel last week. The third term is strengths, which means things you are good at, especially in work. For example, we could say in the interview, she talked about her strengths in communication. Next, we have a position, which is a specific job or role in a company. You could say she's applying for a position as a sales assistant. Finally, there's a good fit, which is used to say that someone is the right person for a job. You might say he is a good fit for this company. Listen carefully to the story and feel free to pause or rewind the video if needed. Emma's morning didn't go as planned. Just as she was about to leave for her job interview, her ex showed up at the door. Not the ideal way to start the day. When he left, she took a deep breath, grabbed her bag, and walked out. Today was about moving forward. 2 days earlier, Emma had applied for a position at a cafe in Brooklyn. The job ad had said, "Waitress wanted, no experience needed." It wasn't her dream job, but it was a start. When she arrived at the cafe, she pushed the door open, smiled at the man behind the counter, and said, "Hi, I'm Emma. I'm here for the job interview." The barista smiled and replied, "Nice to meet you. The manager will be out in a minute. Want something to drink while you wait?" Emma grabbed a glass of water, sat at a small table, and waited. She was nervous, so she took a few deep breaths as she repeated interview tips in her head. Make eye contact, speak clearly, show confidence, mention your strengths. The interview was casual and welcoming. He asked about her background, why she moved to New York, and how she felt about early shifts and teamwork. Emma answered honestly. She didn't have cafe experience, but she had worked with people before and was always willing to learn. The manager nodded and said, "Great! I think you'll be a good fit for this position. We'd like to hire you for a trial week." Emma smiled, surprised and grateful. As she stood up to thank him, her elbow hit a glass on the table and it shattered on the floor. Emma froze, then said, "Great first impression, right?" The manager laughed. "You'll fit in just fine." Emma left the cafe with a job and a great story for her first day. Next, answer the following questions based on the story you just listened. Feel free to replay the story if needed. Why was Emma's morning stressful before the interview? What kind of job did Emma apply for? What did Emma do while waiting for the manager? What happened at the end of the interview? Listen carefully to the dialogue and repeat the sentences at the pause. When you see the pause button, it's your time to repeat.
Hi, Emma. Thanks for coming in. So you applied for the waitress position, right?
Yes, I sent my CV earlier this week. I really like the description in the job ad.
Great. Can you tell me a bit about your background?
Sure. So I'm originally from a small town, but I moved to New York recently.
What brought you to New York?
Well, I wanted a fresh start. I've always wanted to live in a big city and try something new.
Makes sense. Have you worked in a cafe before?
Not in a cafe, but I've worked in customer service, mostly in shops. I'm used to working with people and staying calm when things get busy.
That's good to hear. What would you say are your main strengths?
I'm a friendly and reliable person, and I enjoy working with a team. I also learn quickly.
And what about your weaknesses?
Sometimes I get nervous when I start something new, but I always adapt quickly once I get used to it.
That's honest and normal. And how do you feel about early shifts? We usually open at 7 a.m.
That's fine with me. I'm a morning person most days.
That's fair enough. All right, Emma, we'd like to hire you for a trial week. If it goes well, we can talk about something longer term.
That sounds great. I really appreciate the opportunity. Don't stop now. Click on the next episodes to take your English even closer to fluency.